I've always thought as pressure and stress as my best friend. Growing up, it was hard to accept because when the pressure moment came, I would be extremely nervous and I would kind of stop talking and freeze up. I've just said to myself, let's just enjoy the moment, and I try to think of all the positive that's happening, and that takes my mind away from the stress, from the pressure. I love playing in front of people, in front of fans. Doesn't matter if it's 10 people, 5 people, or 1,000 people in the stands. It's just so much fun to put on a show for them. I do get nervous. I get nervous all the time before matches, before actually even doing a school quiz. I get nervous, and I think it's completely normal. It's part of life, and it's something that I've learned to accept. And I've heard someone say that you're nervous because you care about it. You care about school, you care about tennis. And when I heard about it, I was like, wow, that's so true, I do care. And I think that's the beauty of it, that I'm able to love something so much that I'm sometimes taken aback, I'm afraid of the result, but at the same time, I'm willing to go through it and just have fun. I could be ahead in a game, but then afterwards the other player fights back and come back. So that's when I'm a little bit more nervous because of that unpredictability. But I think that's the beauty of sports. That's the beauty of life, that things are so unpredictable and that you get to experience those feelings, those raw emotions that in the normal circumstances you don't normally feel. I think over the course of years, I've been doing little things, sometimes to just control my breathing, taking my time between points. Lately, I've been looking a lot at my box, at my support team, and seeing them so calm and so confident gives me confidence. So that's how I'm able to kind of calm down my nerves and just think clearly about my solution or about my plan that I'm going to do next. I think it's when I feel the best mentally, physically, I feel extremely confident, extremely elegant, that I don't feel like I'm fighting against myself, but as in I'm working together so I can perform at the best and highest level that I can. I think it's hard because, I try to be positive. I try fake it till you make it, so I try to be happy, but at the same time, I just feel tired and I just want to take a rest and maybe sleep a little bit longer or do nothing, have a lazy day. So I think that's what I try. That's what happens when I feel a little mentally tired. And I think also relationship-wise, with my family and friends, they see a difference in me and they see how I'm not as energetic or confident as if when I'm mentally happy. Everybody's different, but for me, I love to do physical activity. So as in running. Running is probably my favorite thing because I get to go outside, breathe fresh air, see people also exercising, and then it just kind of brings down my anger and frustration. In yoga, it's completely different. I feel so relaxed. I feel like my mind has been cleared of everything that's been happening. I think it's a lot of my own expectations. My expectations, other people's expectations that will bring me down and that I think about a lot. I think after those runs, after the yoga, it comes to my understanding that it's normal to fail and it's normal to get back up and restart all over again. I've always thought as pressure and stress as my best friend. Growing up, it was hard to accept because when the pressure moment came, I would be extremely nervous and I would kind of stop talking and freeze up. Growing up, I've just said to myself, let's just enjoy the moment, and I try to think of all the positive that's happening, and that takes my mind away from the stress, from the pressure. Not going to lie, it's a little hard, but I'm enjoying every step of the way. I think it's part of life. It's part of being a professional. So in sports, I'm getting recognized a little bit more, and I'm just trying to accept it, have fun with it, and just show on the tennis court that this is the life that I wanted. I think I try to be as genuine as possible. Like I've always been a happy-go-lucky girl, like that enjoys the moment. So I have the biggest smile because when I was younger and I wanted to be a professional tennis player, I never thought in a million years that people would recognize me. And I think that's so beautiful that a little girl's dream has come true. I remember clearly the very first time I played my professional match, I was extremely terrified to get on court because I didn't know if I was strong enough, if I was fast enough. And I think all those doubts played in my head, and I was just kind of psyching myself out. And that match, I know I lost, and I found out just how important mental health is. That back then I was afraid to talk about it, but now that I've experienced it, I'm willing to say well, this moment I was nervous, it's normal. So what can I do to kind of take away those nerves in those important moments, or in the next match that's going to come? Nobody really knows what's going on in someone's head. Nobody has the right path. So I think over the years, it has become more and more clear that it has become a problem. And because we're talking about it, that means we're in the right direction, that we're willing to find a solution to it. And that's the beautiful part of it, of us, that we're willing to learn from our past mistakes, and that we want to get better. We want our next generation to be better, to become better, to make this a better world. Well, I always try to talk with my dad, who's also my coach. He knows exactly what to tell me. After that I talk to him, I always have a few minutes on my own. So that's when I take deep breaths, control my breathing, control my heartbeat, and then afterwards I try to activate my legs to get all those nerves going, get myself sweating so I can get all the shakiness out of my system. Social media is hard. It's because, we're on it practically every single day. It's been a learning process. There were times that I thought I was going at a normal rate, but then there's some other times where I've abused it. I've been on social media for too much time, for a long period of time, and I think that's something that we all had to learn, that there's always a limit to it. The very first time I read a negative comment, I couldn't accept someone writes such a mean message to a person that they don't even know what they've been going through, the trainings that they had to go through. But every time there's a negative comment or I see a negative comment, I sometimes laugh. It's funny. I try to put a smile on my face. I try to imagine oh, so that happened, okay, let me use that as fuel. It gives an extra wood in the fire, and it kind of wants me to prove that person wrong. We've had actually this one rule, to never ever read an article about myself. Whatever comes out, it comes out, so I try not to read about it. And even if I do hear a negative comment, it goes from one ear and out the other. I don't try to dwell on it too much. I think the biggest one was I'm too short, not fast enough, not strong enough, not powerful enough, and that my tennis game, my style of game, will not work against bigger players. So those were those comments that were very repetitive over the course of the year. People would say that I would not be able to achieve my goals because I was too small, and that in the next level, it was not going to work. And just hearing that has always fueled me, but not just me, but also my family around me. Whatever those people are saying, just take it, and we're gonna prove them wrong. I think when I was younger, it was hard to talk to them, because I was afraid that they would judge me and that they would kind of say no, that's a wrong feeling to have, it shouldn't happen. But Over the years, I've learned that talking about it actually makes it a lot easier. It makes like them understand what is happening in the moment, and they can use their experiences and like what happened to them to help me, kind of guide me in the right way, and I can find my own solution that works for myself. I think it's because growing up, I've seen how a lot of the adults have shut down kids, have shut down their feelings, their thoughts, and what they're thinking. And I was lucky enough to have great parents, a great coach at the time, or coaches that's been helping me out, saying what are you feeling? How do you feel? Is everything okay? But I know a couple of other players that I've trained with who didn't have that, and that they've been struggling a lot. So I don't want the next generation, the younger kids, to have to go through that. And I want it to be normal for them to talk to adults, to not be afraid to voice their opinions, that they are willing to confide in someone, and that they know for 100% that that person is going to help the kids, that they're going to help them achieve their own goals without bringing them down, without judging them. So the top 3 tips for taking care of myself are: 1, great sleep, a good night's sleep. I try to have full hours, 9 to 10 hours of sleep. 2nd, physical activities. I love jogging, yoga, that has always helped me. And lastly is to talk to people, to talk with people that I have confidence with and that they can help me out. When my mind is full, I think it's just a million voices that are just talking at the same time. It's not necessarily my voice. It could be someone that I know. It could just be a random voice that's happening. But I think it's just so many things are going on at the same time that gives me a headache or that makes me feel dizzy, that I can't just think clearly. It's just a whole emotions, and then I get impatient. When I'm feeling stuck, I get unstuck by just talking, just saying whatever comes to mind, because sometimes it's just a whole bunch of words, phrases that it's jumbled up, and if I'm able to just make some complete sentences one by one, then at the end of the day my mind is clear and that I'm just able to think about what I want to do next. La santé mentale est très importante pour moi. C'est une partie que pas tout le monde accepte ou comprend. Alors pour nous, de pouvoir parler et de dire ce qu'on pense, ce qu'on sent, c'est une manière pour avancer dans notre profession. Ça va nous donner de la confiance, ça va nous faire plus content qu'on est en train de faire de la travail. Alors, la santé mentale est très, très importante.